All right, so this is the place I grew up in. This is the neighborhood I grew up in the 1980s. So if anybody remembers, so if you remember Pac-Man and Commodore 64s and Poofy Hair and Michael Jackson and Back to the Future and the Great Recession, the economic recession that took place in the 1980s, then that's exactly all those things took place when I was living here in this neighborhood. So anybody that remembers, the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion of 1986? Anybody remembers Michael Jackson's Thriller in 1982 and 83? Anybody that remembers the Iraq-Iran War in 1980 and MTV coming out for the first time in 1981? Microsoft's first PC computer that came out, and anybody that remembers, what else happened in the 1980s in the news and all those things that took place? Well, of course, the Space Shuttle Challenger and the Meech Lake Accord, Prime Minister Brian Mulroney winning the biggest majority government in Canadian history in 1984, the Man in Motion World Tour in 1985, and the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in '86, and of course the Calgary 1988 Olympic Games. And of course now the matching year anniversary of the last time I ever lived in this neighborhood. So right now we're in the final frontier because this is June 23rd and it will only be one more week before the matching year anniversary of moving out of this neighborhood. So right now we're about to begin the final frontier of my being in this Zest by Nature neighborhood, which I hope you'll all enjoy. It's a great opportunity, and these are things which will be gone for another 28 years. So I hope you'll enjoy it. This is precious. This is worth as much as gold.
Beautiful. Okay.
So without any further ado, let's do the tour.
So what's this?
All right. So now so this is the neighborhood I grew up in 28 years up until 28 years ago. I moved in here in 1978, which would have been 39 years ago. I'm 39 right now. So right now we're just walking towards we're in the neighborhood of the 1980s, and it's a very as you know, a very special time. This is the final frontier of the matching year memories of being in this neighborhood from 28 years ago, and it's a very just very wondrous memories, and I don't remember all the houses here. I do remember a few of the houses here. I remember people that I remember somebody that lived in that little red house over there, and and that's how it is. And I hope you'll. I remember playing with some friends of mine out there. It was in the wintertime, and we would play around in the snow. And I was at some friends of mine in that house there, that little red house over there, and and I remember I remember being out there, and some friends of mine and my brothers, and we would do that, and I remember walking in the snow and ice and just very interesting stuff. That's when I was a kid playing playing around in the winter. Yeah, and so now we're just heading down this way. So that field was not there when I grew up. So that was all like covered in.
Where this park is right now.
Yeah, so it's just a little park. It's just a little playground area, and I kind of envy that because when I was a kid, that was not there, and it's a place where I would. If that had been there, it's a place where I would go, but that field was not there, and I'd be lying to you if I said that I went into that area there in the 1980s because it was not there.
Yeah.
Now we're walking past another house there. This is where my brother and I took some piano lessons.
Right here?
Yeah. And that was 1985.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I used to bike ride a lot down here as well. This was the area where I bike rode, and where it's a place where I bike rode and all the time, and it was a very enjoyable thing which I did, and you know, going down to the lake and going down to other areas. So now we're walking towards the house, and we're going to be turning into this area, and just walking down this way, and as you can tell, these postal boxes there, that's where everybody gets their mail. Yeah.
This is it?
This house was a friend of my father's. Yeah, who lived in this house here, and that's a place where I would frequently go sometimes, and you know, sometimes that would happen. You know, so he doesn't live there anymore. He lives actually somewhere else.
Okay.
So that's the thing, and so we're getting pretty close to home.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So now we're coming across this way. That house over there is. I remember getting stuck in a garage there, and I remember the owner of the house told me to, you know, kind of let me out of there, and then I went back to my house.